BC's my grandfather's brainchild. It's a comic strip. It's about cavemen, and he created it back in 1958.
He wanted to have a national comic strip before he was 27. Why he came up with that number, him and I, neither one were able to ever figure out.
I don't know why he liked cavemen. They were simple to draw, that was it. There was an interview where he said he started doing cavemen in these one-panel magazine gags, but he was making maybe $60 a month. He was pretty impressed with Peanuts when Peanuts came out. That was the thing that kind of jump-started me. He's like, I'm going to do a comic strip. And his friend said, why don't you do one about cavemen? You can't sell them anywhere else.
I think BC was always kind of an exercise in discovery. You know, that the caveman characters, they're very childlike. Basically, if you have a kid, in a way, you have a cave person. This little person is discovering the world for the first time.
Growing up, I just remember my dad working in this one room in our house, and I just wanted to help. I learned that once the ink dried, he would erase the pencil. I was just so anxious to erase that pencil that I would smear the strips. And he was pretty cool about that.
Yeah, I was an illustrator, so he encouraged me to draw all the time, of course. He really loved my work. I don't know if he really loved it, but he sure acted like he did. So one time I did this project. I was working on a graphic novel and I showed him the work, and I remember the look on his face. And I said, well, what do you think of it? He goes, it's crap. I'll never forget that.
I don't know, he was like larger than life, like he was like magic. He was like a big kid.
No, I liked him because he was short like me, funny, and very sincere. We never did think much or talk much about how it would continue on. I don't know. I guess we thought we would never die. We would just continue on. But we always knew that Mason liked to draw. He had talked to Rick Newcomb, the president of our syndicate, that Mason would probably be able to do it very easily. Mason had no idea. He had to learn that the hard way.
I was on my way up to Syracuse, and my mom called me, and she said, Dad's not good. That's what she said. I said, all right, and I turned around on the highway, and my sister Perry was already there, and Mom, and I knew when I walked to the hospital that he was gone, because they take you to a special room. And I called Mason and Mick, and
5 or 6 days before he passed away, he had just gotten the clean bill of health from the cancer all gone, and he was feeling really, really good. So when he just passed one day in the studio, yeah, it was kind of shock.
Well, I think really inside of me, I just wanted to move to the other side of the world, but I mean, we had to do it.
In the beginning, like when he first passed away, I really wasn't sure that we were going to be continuing. I remember it as Mason saying that he would like the opportunity to try to continue BC for the family. And I also remember saying to him about 15 times, are you sure you want to do this? And he really wanted to do it for his gram.
BC was like one of our kids almost, you know, and you just can't retire him.
It was a crazy time because we didn't really have a plan. I knew Mason could do it.
I also remember the first thing that we all laughed at and said, that looks terrible. And we told him, and he laughed and said it did. And within just a few weeks, he was drawing it pretty close to exact.
But now that we're closing in on 10 years, I think he would love what the boys are doing, what Mason's doing especially. He's busting his buttons.
Luma, this is what a neat project.
I really didn't know what Luma was about.
What's Luma?
And I could see how excited Mason was.
My friend Josh B. Called me and said, I have an idea I want to talk to you about, and amorphous, very ambitious. And he said, we want to do this projection festival. And what we're going to do is project, full-size films on the side of buildings, and we're going to map them, which that's another term I hadn't heard yet, but he wanted to have 5 buildings, and each of them was going to have this individual piece of work on it. He said, we want to do something with BC. And I thought, well, we've done a couple animated specials. Maybe we could pull some art from that or something, because I don't know if we can animate something from scratch. And he goes, no, I want to do something a lot more than that. I want to do something really fresh and really new. We started talking a little bit, and I used to be a 3D animator, and I thought, wow, you know, I'd love to see BC in 3D. And then he told me when he wanted it done by. And I believe, if I remember correctly, he was like 2 months out or something like that. And I thought that is impossible.
I remember the night you were telling me about it. I thought, he's not going to be able to pull this off by September. But I didn't say that to you. I was supportive.
It has to be written, it has to be boarded. Models need to be rigged, animated, composited. You know, they need to be lit. Then you have to build them an environment to exist in, and all of this stuff has to come together. This is normally takes a team of people. And then Josh showed me a reel of a local guy named Zach, and a guy I had not heard of, but he had interned at DreamWorks, and I saw his reel, and immediately I knew that we could do this. And the amazing thing about it was he was from Binghamton. So when I got to sit down with Zach and talk about how this project was going to look, we had all these different ideas of how we might want to animate it, to try to make it look more cartoony. And then we were thinking, well, maybe we could do it with a cell shading that would look more like an anime. And eventually we just kind of settled on, well, you know what? Let's just do a test the way I normally animate. Of course, there's a lot of challenges in translating a 2D character into 3D. The major challenge is to create expressiveness, a gesture, and emotion that you're normally used to doing with just a simple 2D line. And as far as gesture, he'd be very expressive, and his movements would be kind of overreaching, maybe like a stage actor as opposed to someone doing something on film. And it worked really well. It really captured the feel of the strip and sort of the silliness of it. With Gronk, his smile is huge. He has this big, open, inviting smile from the front, but when he turns his face to the side, he has this nose that comes way out, sort of like the old nerd candies. A lot of BC, the lead character's expressions, are in his eyes. And, you know, he'd be, you know, surprised and sad. It's just a very simple cartooning trick. You kind of do a lot of things in the eyes and just let the mouth hang. But that was something that we really wanted to preserve, and that came out really well. The night of Luma was so exciting. There was kind of something in the air, and nobody really knew what was going to happen or how it was going to, if everyone was going to be able to pull it off. Just this team of people, volunteers and a couple core people, were able to pull off this thing. The BC short ended up being the first to be displayed to this huge crowd. And I'm sitting there, and our wall is there, and the countdown is coming, and it began. And I'm standing there looking up at the wall, seeing BC for the first time. He must have been, I don't know how many meters tall, but overwhelmed.
Oh, I was very pleased. I was very happy to see that many people.
Yeah, to have 25,000 people, it was great.
I was very surprised at how well it turned out. It's like more of something that you see in a bigger city.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
I think Johnny would have loved being a part of Luma.
I think he'd be real impressed with that.
I think he would have been blown away to get to see the characters in 3D and get to see them treated well, see what they can do.